What is going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the rumors, the details, and everything you need to know about the Cowboys potentially making a run at CJ Henderson, I would just like to thank everyone for your support this past few days. I posted clips from our stream recapping the Hall of Fame game. One of those videos in particular got over 1,000 views, so if you contributed in any way possible, thank you very much. Your support does not go unnoticed. Also, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, which the majority of you aren't that watch my videos, please do so. Hit that big red subscribe button. Also, drop a like on the video and leave a comment down below what you think about CJ Henderson possibly on the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think it would take to get him? How do you think it would work out? Let me know everything you have on, or your thoughts on this topic down below in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Also, before we get into it, I know I'm taking forever to get into this. I apologize, but if I sound sick, it's because I am sick. I can't taste or smell a damn thing, so it's pretty telling as to what I have. I'm not going to actually say it because I think YouTube will, like, demonetize your videos or do something or whatever. I don't even have monetization yet, so it's not like it matters, but I'm going to act like I do. But yeah, I'm going to go get tested later today after I make this video, and fingers crossed I don't have it. All right, so CJ Henderson, in case you aren't aware of who he is, 9th overall pick in 2020 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is a cornerback. And recently, it's been rumored, there hasn't actually been an official report, or at least not that I've heard of. I could be wrong. Please correct me down below if I am. That he is available. He's on the trade block, which I find kind of weird. I mean, why would you put a young cornerback, one that you took with a top 10 pick, a premium pick in the draft last year, on the trade block? I mean, I know the Jacksonville Jaguars like who they have in their cornerback room, but, I mean, he's controllable, he's young, he's good from what we know. I mean, the Jags are a team that just drafted Trevor Lawrence #1 overall. They got Travis Etienne. They have Urban Meyer. I mean, their team is looking up. They're going to be a contender in the years to come. So it kind of confuses me. I will say that. That's the first thing that jumped out at me. I think it's weird that you immediately make a young cornerback available. So maybe, you know, it doesn't look as it doesn't look as good as you think it looks on the outside. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe there's like some medicals we don't know about with CJ Henderson, and we'll find that out eventually as the story progresses and more teams try to trade for him. They're going to find things out, and it's eventually going to reach the public. So if that's the case, we will find out soon. And if it's not medicals, like, is he not showing up to practices, or is he being an issue? Like, what's the problem? I'm not accusing him of that. I'm not saying that's the case, but, like, teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars don't just randomly say, hey, our first-round draft pick from last year, who, while he was injured for half the season in 2020, we'll get into that a little later. When he did play, he was pretty good. Like, why do you just place someone like that on the trade block? That doesn't make any sense to me. And like I mentioned, he's controllable. For whatever team he gets traded to, that team will be responsible for 3 years and $7.4 million in total. The signing bonus, the team that drafted him pays that. So if the Cowboys were to get him, they're only on the hook for that, which is, like, that's nice. I like the sound of that. But when you talk about controllable young guys, especially one that was drafted with a top 10 pick, the idea that you can just trade a third or fourth, or not, I wouldn't say a third. Let's go like a fourth or fifth round pick. I mean, you can consider that out the window. To get CJ Henderson, in my opinion, is probably going to take somewhere in the range of a second and a third. And listen, I know that sounds like a lot, and that's probably why I think Jerry and Steven aren't going to pull the trigger on this. But that's what it takes for a guy that's young, controllable, and that played pretty well when he did play. And I could be wrong. If you think it'll take less, then let me know down in the comments below. Let's have a discussion. But always remember, stay positive down there. No negativity. If you comment something negative or come at someone, I will delete your comment. I'm sorry. It's my comment section, not yours. So just letting that known. But let me know if you think it'll take a little less to get CJ Henderson. In my opinion, it's not a first-round pick necessarily, but a second, a third, somewhere along those lines. Because like I said, he's controllable and young. and good. So, or from what we've seen so far, he's actually, maybe good isn't the best word to describe it because we've only seen him for 8 games. He looks decent. He looks decent. We'll leave it at that. I mentioned how he had only played 8 games last year. It was a groin injury that sidelined him for half the season. But in those games he played, 6 pass deflections, an interception, a forced fumble, and 36 tackles. In his first NFL game, he had an interception and 3 pass breakups. So he made his impact known in that first NFL game, and after his injury, didn't play as well. That 1 interception was his only interception all year, as I previously mentioned, going over his stats. But I mean, 6 pass deflections, a pick, a forced fumble, 36 tackles, in only 8 games. That's not terrible, man. That's really not that bad. And this is, going back to what I was talking about earlier, it's confusing. So you have to wonder, is there something else going on? Because that just it baffles me. Like, I don't understand why the Jaguars look at that and say, yeah, young, a pick, 6 pass deflections, fumble, 36 tackles in 8 games, 3 years, only $7.5-ish million. We're gonna put him on the trade block. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But if you're a Jaguars fan, I mean, I'm not a Jaguars fan. I keep up with the NFL, but I don't keep up with the Jaguars or any other team other than maybe like the Texans, like I do with the Cowboys. If you know anything, let me know, because I'm interested to know why the Jaguars are just so freely putting this guy on the trade block. A little more about CJ, pure athleticism. He's very familiar and comfortable lining up in man coverage. You don't know what Dan Quinn is going to do with this defense specifically quite yet. We know there's going to be a lot of 4-3 integrated. We don't know if he's going to be coming out more so in zone or in man. We know with Seattle he was a cover 3 guy, but he has Malik Hooker and Damontae Kazee up top to play cover 1 high man if he wants to go that route. So, that's another thing that goes into potentially trading for C.J. Henderson. Dan Quinn has got to have a say in it. How are you going to utilize C.J. Henderson? If we're giving up a 2nd or 3rd round pick, is it going to be worth it to get a guy? Is he going to fit well? That's going to may or may not fit well into the scheme. So, that's another thing. I will say, though, the Cowboys were interested in C.J. Henderson in the 2020 draft before he got taken by Jacksonville at 9. Cowboys ended up with CeeDee Lamb, who, I mean, I don't got no problem with that, man. I like CeeDee Lamb. I'm cool with CeeDee Lamb being a Dallas Cowboy for the rest of his NFL career. I don't got no problem with it. But they were interested in CJ at some point in the 2020 NFL draft, so that's something to take note of. Last, before we end off the video, I want to go over why I think Jerry and Steven won't do this deal. If you go back and look at, like, let's say, let's bring it back to 2018, where Jerry and Steven were interested in the idea of bringing over Earl Thomas for a 2nd-round pick. Then the Seahawks raised that asking price at the last second. And this was, I believe, around the time the NFL draft was taking place to a 1st-round pick. Cowboys backed out. Smart move. But I think leading up to that deal, I mean, Earl Thomas was still Earl Thomas. So I think everyone would have taken Earl Thomas for a 2nd-round pick. Thank God the Cowboys didn't make that trade, and thank God the Seahawks raised their asking price. Could you imagine, though, if Jerry and Steven said, all right, yeah, we'll give you a 1st? That would have been a disaster. But, I mean, ultimately, like, other than Amari Cooper, Jerry and Steven are not fond of giving up premium draft picks. And when I say premium, I don't mean, like, top 10. I'm more so talking about, like, the first few rounds. I'm talking about day 1, day 2. They don't like doing that, especially for a guy that, like I said, is decent, but we don't know enough about him. Like, trading a 2nd or 3rd round pick, if you're going to, is widely considered a risk, because C.J. Henderson, like I mentioned before, only played 8 games last year. And in those 8 games, had a stat line that you'd expect from a top 10 pick to record in, 6 games. So it is risky. Jerry and Steven don't necessarily like taking those risks unless, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but Amari Cooper is one exception, a 1st-round pick for Coop, who at the time had serious problems with his drops. That ended up panning out really well, though, so we like how that ended up. But that's just not in the Joneses' DNA at this point. It was back then, like Roy Williams. That was a risk they were willing to take. It did not work out well, and I think ever since that trade, it's kind of like scared them off. Like they're not necessarily jolting to a team that's like, hey, here's a decent value. We just want like a day 2 pick or something like that back. They're not first in line like they were back then. And also, you have to consider if you're giving up a second or third round pick, you lose potentially your Michael Gallup replacement, because, or even Randy Gregory, because both those guys, I believe, are on contract years. I know for a fact Gallup, and I think Randy Gregory is as well. But you lose both those guys potentially at the end of the year if they're asking for more than what you can pay them, because we know the Cowboys are pretty backed up right now with the salary cap, and it will rise. The pandemic kind of inflicted pain on every NFL's or on every team's cap situation, so it will rise eventually, but not soon enough, is what I'll say. Like, it won't rise enough to the point where the Cowboys will have enough money to afford to pay Gallup and Gregory both in the same year. So one of them's out the door. It's likely to be Gallup, and unless I don't know how you say his name. It's like Foco or something. I don't know. Unless he pans out, or unless Cedric Wilson and Malik Turner, who are both on 1-year deals, have excellent seasons and take discounts, which likely won't happen. I mean, the Cowboys are going to have to go get a new receiver, and that's what you use that second or third round pick on. You guys got to remember, Michael Gallup was I think it was a day 2. He might have been a day 3 pick. So you can find good value receivers there. And without that pick, if you're spending that pick on CJ Henderson, there is no guaranteed replacement for Michael Gallup or Randy Gregory. It's just something you have to consider. Now, on the other hand, you look at the Cowboys' depth chart. At the cornerback position, Trayvon Diggs, Jordan Lewis, CJ Goodwin, Maurice Kennedy, Anthony Brown, Kevin Joseph. I was just reading off the names. That is in no specific order, but CJ Henderson fits well into here. I think right now, going into the season, like if the season started today, your starting corners are probably Trayvon Diggs, Maurice Kennedy, Jordan Lewis in the slot most likely, and then Kelvin Joseph will get some reps behind, just kind of he'd become a starter eventually down the road. But I mean, CJ Henderson, he fits well into there. He does. And if you get a guy like CJ Henderson, Anthony Brown, I believe, is about $4.5 million against the cap. Save some money, cut him. I mean, you have enough with Diggs, Lewis, Kennedy, Deshaun Wright. I didn't even mention Deshaun Wright, Kelvin Joseph, and then CJ Henderson. Yeah, you're saving money, or maybe not necessarily saving money because you are having to pay CJ Henderson. But I think ultimately, if Brown is a $4.5 million cap hit, Henderson is set on nearly $7.5 million over the next 3 years. Actually, yeah, technically you are saving a little bit of money, so it doesn't hurt. It's just like I said, giving up that pick. Jerry and Steven, not known to do that much anymore, so that's why I don't think it'll happen. But it'd be cool. It would be cool. I will admit it. I think it would help this Cowboys defense, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for all your support over the weekend and some of the videos from the stream. In case you want to watch our streams live, we stream at least once a week. I don't know about this week, though, because I am pretty sick. So apologies there. Maybe at the end of the week, though, after the preseason game against the Cardinals, we'll fire something up if I'm feeling better at that point. Hopefully I am. I doubt it, though. If I've got what I think I've got, I'm gonna be out for probably at least another week. So hopefully that's not the case, though. But if you guys want to see streams live, just check my Twitter @_DTXMichael. Everything is listed down in the description below. Turn notification bells on for my channel. That way you're notified anytime we go live, or if I ever post a video, you can be one of the first ones to see it. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.